Hey Ram fam, it's time for RamZone. Here's your host, Cam Allen.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of RamZone. We've got football head coach Jeff Girsch in here with us today, and we'll just go ahead and get started. Coach Girsch, how are you this year?
Man, doing well. Just excited to be here. You know, we had a long trip this past weekend getting back from Silver City, New Mexico, so got a win, and it's great. But you know, it's been a good year so far. You know, we have battled a little bit, but you know, excited about where it's taking us.
And so y'all started the season on the road, 2 games back-to-back. Didn't turn out the way y'all wanted to. What kind of challenges does starting on the road to start a season really present?
Yeah, it does. It challenges you mentally and physically with things and the travel.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you know, our first game was it added to that travel a little bit with a rain delay that first night and having to stay an extra night and play the game on Friday instead of a Thursday. So, you know, scrambling to find hotel rooms that Thursday night, and then, you know, the bus trip up 10 hours, bus trip back 10 hours on that first one was a struggle. But, you know, at the end of the day, they were 2 good football teams we played on the road, both up in Kansas, and felt like we had a chance to win both those games at certain points of the game, but we didn't. But I do think playing top-end competition like that is going to pay off for us, and it has the last 2 weeks.
I know a lot of schools try to get their easy games first 2 weeks before conference play. Y'all went out, played some good teams, and now that you've started conference play, you're already 2-0 in conference play. How is playing those challenging teams really set you up for the next 2 conference games?
Yeah, well, I tell my players all the time, I tell my coaches all the time, those are the games I want. You know, I want to go compete against, you know, the top-end teams in the country, and, you know, those games matter in the big picture of wins and losses, but it doesn't affect your Lone Star Conference play, you know, and you can still win a Lone Star Conference, you know, even if you lose a game or 2 in the non-conference games. But, you know, I joke that I'm too old to go play, you know, easy games. I want to be involved in the games that make this program better at the end of the day, and also they're more exciting games to be in. So it tests our players, you know, when you're at a caliber that we think Angelo State football is, of competing for a conference championship and you know, winning a conference championship and competing for national playoffs and winning games in there and compete for a national championship. You want to play great football teams and see where you stand. So I think those 2 games at the end of the year will pay off for us, and even though we lost 2 of them, they'll pay off for us because they were good competition, and we'll have a chance to keep getting better.
And your first one of the season came at home, the only home game so far.
Yeah.
How was that to be able to come back, bounce back, get the win at home in front of all the fans who showed up?
Well, it was great. It was fun. The crowd was awesome. The student section was great.
Yeah.
They were very vocal. You could hear them with that part. So anytime you get to come back and play in front of our fans, you know, they support the Rams and football and every sport they do. And coming back and having your family, friends, and the fans around us, you know, was awesome. So it was fun to get that win and get us started.
And so the home team, I feel like at Angelo State, I can barely find a seat in the student section.
Yeah.
How do you think that compares with other maybe teams in the conference whenever y'all travel there?
We have the best support. You really do. You know, you go to other places, and you know, there's a couple schools that'll put the student section right behind the visitor in the bench. So maybe that's one thing we could do to cause some problems over there. But at the end of the day, it's great when you turn around and you see that place packed. You know, I sell it to our players all the time. Like, you guys have done this, man. You've won games and brought the excitement of the program to where it's at, and you get the support. So having that support and having the people, especially our student section, in there supporting us means a lot.
And then at home, we also have the cannon. A lot of teams may have that.
Yeah.
Does that still ever scare you on the first score?
You know, it does. It seems like I talk myself into it every time, saying, hey, it's here. You know, don't forget about this, but I do. It scares the referees. The officials always say something about it. Obviously, I warn the head coaches on the visiting team every single time, too. If it happens, when we score, that's going to happen. So, but yeah, it gets me every time.
Sitting by the student section, it's right there. I mean, every time I've been to a game, it gives me a startle first score. It could be field goal. It just startles me.
It really does, man. It's loud, and if you aren't expecting it, it can catch you.
But you had to play on the road this past week. Got another win, though, 21-0 against Western New Mexico.
Yep.
How was that? The trip's far, but y'all got down there 21-0. How was that game?
Well, we've been talking about it all all year. We road warriors, we really have we're bye this week, and then we travel again. So our first 4 of our first 5 will be on the road this year. But going to Silver City, it's a long trip. We broke it up a little bit. We stayed in Las Cruces and drove the remaining hour and a half to 2 hours on Saturday morning before the game. But it was a good trip. Our kids have gotten used to the travel a little bit. So, going out there, we were a little slow on offense right away to get going. But at the end of the day, scored a lot of points and we moved the ball up and down the field. We really did on offense, and just didn't find the end zone right away. And we had a couple issues in the kicking game. We've been pretty good in the field goal portion of it, and we struggled with the operation time from snap to hold twice, and so that took points off the board too. But ultimately got it done. Braden Fuller was named Offensive Player of the Week this year in the Lone Star Conference. He had a great day. Threw for I think combined with his rushing and passing, was over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he did a great job. Defensively in this game, pitching a shutout. That's hard to do in college football. Coach Salgado has got these guys playing at a high level, and just excited about what can happen, what can continue to improve on both sides of the football. We have a chance to be a really good football team.
And so you were talking about the defense. Y'all scored 21 on offense, let up 0 on defense, and only, I believe, 159 yards total. What were some plays, or what'd y'all do differently in that game just to shut them out?
Well, I think it's the focus that our kids are understanding they need to play with. There's times as a coach you always want your kids, your players to practice at a high level, and we do that most of the time. There's times that I feel like we need to keep increasing our efforts out there on the field in practice time by cleaning small things up. It leads to great opportunities on the football field, and obviously we played well defensively on Saturday. We didn't do a whole lot different besides focus on the small things, the details of what we're trying to do. It was great film study, I feel, during the week to see what they do well. Our kids were ready for, and we tackled well. Just played with a lot of energy on defense. We were missing some guys in the defensive line this week, but that didn't deter anything in what we were doing call-wise. Our kids just stepped up and played. So proud of the efforts that they played with. And again, we played well on defense all year, but I think this team is just starting to figure out how good they can be on defense. So, we're excited to see the growth this week.
And so we talked about the defense, had some injuries, still shut them out, played great. And I wanted to talk about one guy. He had his 3rd pick of the season, good buddy of mine, Andrew Pitts, and got his 19th career. And I believe that's the school record for picks.
It is, yeah.
What does that mean to have a player you brought in, you've coached him his whole career, and he's setting records?
Yeah, he's something special, I'll tell you that. I'm not surprised. He's kind of a football magnet. He's always around it. Just the straight ball skills he has are nothing short of amazing. He's just a fierce competitor, and we keep joking about it. Teams keep throwing it his way, and when they do, you pay sometimes. And Andrew just has a way about him on the football field. He's very calm, very precise in what he's doing. He works skill, he works technique. He's a freak athlete. He is. I mean, the kid's 5'8", maybe 5'9", but he can windmill dunk a basketball. He's just one of those guys that just a great competitor. I recruited him out of high school, so I knew from day one what type of player he was capable of being. We encourage him to continue working hard because I still think he has room to grow on things. But, obviously being the leader at Angelo State University in any category is something special because it's a rich history of football here at Angelo State, and Andrew Pitts will have his name in that record book for a long time.
And maybe he'll get some more, get that record even higher.
Yeah, I anticipate him having a great year.
And we talk about him being a ball hog, kind of like Trayvon Diggs for 2 years ago, maybe not this year. Cowboys might need you to get their defense going, but who knows? But you get the bye week now after some great momentum.
Yeah.
What are you going to do this bye week to really set up the rest of the season?
Well, we talk about it all the time. You got to go 1-0 each week, and I know we don't have a game on Saturday, but we still have to get better this week, and we're going to practice a little bit differently sometimes, give them a little bit of a break, and try to get the healing as well. In week 4, going into week 5, you're going to have some bumps and bruises along the way. So, continue the treatment with our players, but we need to still get better and get better as a program, not just our starters. Our young guys that are doing a lot of scout work right now on scout teams, they got to get better this week. And so we're going to focus on bringing those younger guys along, staying focused this week on, our next opponent is UTPB in a couple weeks, but, basically we get 2 weeks to prepare for that game. We're not going to spend every single practice about UTPB. We're going to work on getting better and things that we do, go back to a lot of drill work, do a lot of special teams work and that kind of thing, just to keep on improving in those areas. But, it's good to get the bye week. You always, as a coach, you worry about the bye week some, because you're not playing a game. But I feel like it's fallen on a pretty good week for us.
And UTPP last year was, I believe, their first time getting a win against Angelo State in pretty much anything.
Yep.
They've gotten a few here or there. But how do you look to bounce back against them this year? You have to travel there.
Yeah.
They got us here last year. Now it's our turn to get them there.
It is. They've done a great job. Coach McCullough, turned that program around fast. He won a conference championship last year and went undefeated in conference, kind of what we did the year before. And it's just a matter of going out and competing. It really is. He's going to have a great team. He's going to have prepared, ready to go. But so are we. And we're a good football team. They're kind of fitting right where we're at right now. They're sitting at 2-2 with two really good. The losses they had were against good football teams, and kind of the same mode with Angelo State. Our 2 losses are against 2 ranked teams, and it's just a matter of going out and again, not wasting a week of preparation and getting better and doing things that we can do this week to control, the outcomes of the following week. But, relying on our senior leadership, our coaching staff to keep guys on track and obviously, the training room, Jacob down there making sure our guys are healthy and ready to go. And he's probably got one of the biggest jobs getting guys healthy, and has done an outstanding job there for us. So just continuing to grow. But it's going to take a great football game on, all 3 phases of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams to go out and beat UTBB down there next week or 2 weeks.
And so we were talking about the bye week. You don't have a game to get ready for, but you got to win the week.
Yeah.
Do you have any maybe superstitions or regular things you do on game weeks to just get ready?
For a bye week, I do think you just change that emphasis a little bit to where, what do you want to focus on? In a week you're preparing for an opponent, you got to be pretty specific to, what you're seeing offensively, defensively, and prepare. That bye week, you can kind of focus on yourselves a little bit. You can go and focus more on special teams, focus more on just truly what it takes to be a good football team. On defense, you got to tackle well. We'll do a lot more tackle circuits and pursuing to the football on defense. Offensively, routes on air, getting timing down, doing those types of things and continuing to get better during those bye weeks. We'll let the younger guys, the guys that are on scout team right now, let them scrimmage a little bit and play, and getting their reps back up, because quite frankly, this time of year, those guys probably have more reps on scout team, running somebody else's offense and defense than they do on our own. So, focusing on them, straight superstitions, not a whole lot, but just focusing on our guys and again, finding a way to go 1-0 this week without a game. And that just means improving the program as a whole.
And so we were talking about it's bye week this week, and you got to get those guys ready. When you recruit guys, and a lot of them are going to redshirt, they're going to be scout team. Is there ever maybe a struggle from their first year to the year they start playing, like getting into that offense after doing other teams?
It is. It's a struggle at any level, I think, when you recruit, especially with us. We recruit probably 95% of what we do out of the high schools, and bringing those high school players in, they're all really good football players, and they were playing a bunch of football last year, and then going from that to being redshirted. I think we only have 2 freshmen right now that have seen 1 snap, in the varsity games for us, so it's hard for those guys to transition to do that. You teach them as much as you can through camp to get a good evaluation on them, but at the end of the day, those guys that are sophomores, juniors, and seniors just have so many built-up reps in what we're doing already, so it's hard to go in as a true freshman and beat somebody out. But the neat thing about it is, spring ball's around the corner, so when the season's over, they'll have some time in the weight room to continue to get bigger and stronger, and they're doing that right now as well. But turning around and having spring to compete again, so a second evaluation period in the spring for next year is huge for our incoming freshmen, and that's something we preach to these guys, and there is a lot of good football players in this freshman class and the one before it. So the future's bright, but it's definitely a process, and it's hard when they come from being, the guy in high school to come into college at any level and competing against guys that are grown men, and they got a lot of reps. So, we hopefully they stay with it and understand the big picture of it, and we can get them to, buy into the process, not so much the immediate success, but in the process of being a good football player in Angelo State, and that's learning and taking coaching, and we're big in development of our football players.
And you said you take about 95% of your recruiting is from high school, and maybe 5% is from transfers.
Yeah.
That recruiting process, they're playing the same time as you are. It's hard to get out there Friday nights and see some of these guys play. How does your recruiting process go?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, especially the location. We recruit a lot from this area, so we can get out and see a few games here and there. This bye week, we'll have coaches seeing some different places and going to see some kids. But a lot of it's done through film. It really is. We build great relationships throughout the state of Texas in the high school ranks. In the spring, we go out and hit every high school that we possibly can hit, and we can't get to the whole state, but we get to the majority of them. So we build great relationships with those coaches and recruiting coordinators out there. They're updating us weekly on, how we are with film and how they're doing those kids that we've identified as people that can help us and be potential recruits here. The other thing that we do is we travel the state in the summer and do camps. We do camps, couple in Dallas, couple in Houston, San Antonio, Austin area, and going out and seeing these players in camp and recognizing guys that, are guys that are recruitable for us. And, that's the biggest thing, getting out there, meeting the coaches in high school, having a great relationship with them. When we get their kids here, treating their kids right, that's something that's huge for us. And, there's a lot of schools out there that go recruit 60, 70 kids, in a class. And we don't do that at Angelo State. We find the right, 30, in a recruiting class and bring those guys in. When you have 60 and 70, it's hard to keep that retention rate down. And we want to make sure we keep our kids and do a good job of player development and getting those guys prepared to play for us over the years. When you win championships at Division II level, you win it with your guys that have been in the program 3, 4, and 5 years. That's going to be your base. We brought in some outstanding transfers, and the way the game's going now with the transfer portal, obviously you either get involved with that or you get left behind a bit. So, we've done that, but we've done a pretty good job, I would say, for the most part, of vetting the right kids and getting the right guys into the program. Maybe not always the best players, but the guys that fit your system and fit, kind of your culture and what you've built. So, that's something that we'll have to continue to do in the transfer portal. But no doubt we want to spend most of our time recruiting through the high schools and developing players.
A lot of teams aren't afraid to hit that transfer portal, but those guys that stick in a program for 4 years, those are going to be the best teams. That's why we've been so successful.
It really has. I truly believe that. Again, I do think you have to change a little bit in what you're doing with the way the portal is, because you lose kids, and so you got to be able to fill into gaps within the different classes. When you lose a kid that's been here 3 years, bringing a true freshman in to replace somebody that's been here 3 years, it's hard to do that. That kid's, we talked about that. It's hard to come in and play right away. So trying to replace some holes in the transfer portal, but doing it again with the right type of kid, the right young man that fits the culture is the most important.
And so the transfer portal, who are maybe some notable guys this year that you've maybe pulled in?
Yeah, we Emmanuel Mann is a corner that we brought in who's done just an outstanding job in what we're doing. In the portal, as well as like junior college recruiting too. We've had some guys that have done just a great job. Corey Sandoff is a receiver that we're expecting big things from. He's again, these guys are coming into the program, but they're still learning. Jeff Isenhart is a defensive lineman. Jahai Asuna, another one, defensive lineman, and just they're learning. They're coming along. Zeke Freeman. I could go on and on with some guys that we brought in that we feel really fit the culture and what we're looking for, and I've just done a great job of fitting in and helping and being a part of a program to, win games. They all want to play, right? Everybody wants to be the starter. Everybody wants to be the guy. But when you have your team built into, winning games is more important and doing what's right for the team. When you have that fit, that's when you have a chance to be special.
And so the culture you've built here, bringing in the guys you like, making sure they fit personality-wise, may be more important than their play sometimes. You need them to play good, but how they fit in with the chemistry of the team, is that like the most important part for you?
It really is. You got to find that. And, we talk about in recruiting all the time. I talk about with high school kids when I'm recruiting and their families are on campus. I want a young man that's going to come in and make you look really good on Saturday afternoon when you're playing the game, but also make you look really good on Saturday night, making good decisions and not being somebody that's, causing problems, that type of thing. We've passed on a lot of talent at Angelo State that we don't feel fits what we're looking for. So, we want to make sure that we're bringing in that right fit and guys that can buy into a culture and a belief, because the blueprint's there. We've felt like the program has won a lot of games over the last 5 years, going on 6 years that I've been a head football coach here. Yeah. And it's because of what we've done, as a staff. It's not just me, it's a staff. I mean, these guys, it's the same way in recruiting players and recruiting staff. You find the right fit, and we've done that. And guys that believe the same type of culture building things that we do, that I do as a head coach, you find those guys and you got a chance to be pretty good.
And so before you were the head coach here, you obviously had to be assistant coach and grad assistants.
Yeah, it goes all the way through. I was a defensive coordinator here from the 14 season through the 18 season. Became head coach at the end of 18, and 19 was my first 4 years as head coach here. But, I've been through it all. I've been through it as a player, a student coach when I got done playing, into a graduate assistant role, into a part-time assistant coach for a little bit back at St. Ambrose University, my alma mater, and did that, then went into the full-time role there as a coordinator. So just kind of came up through the ranks. The unique thing about my career is I've only been to 2 colleges, Angelo State now and St. Ambrose University. I coached 1 year of high school football early in my career. So, I'm kind of different when it comes to coaching in that part of it. You see coaches that have been in a lot of spots. I've been very fortunate to be at 2 places that are special and won a lot of football games with it. And, trust me, I understand where I'm at, and it's a great place to be.
And through your growing of your career, do you still talk to some of the coaches you worked under and played for, and maybe ask them questions to these days with your coaching?
Absolutely. There's not a week that doesn't go by that I'm not on the phone with different coaches that have been mentors to me, dear friends to me, guys that I can, some of them are in Division II football, and they'll still, be there to bounce ideas off of. And, so there's no doubt, I've got to coach with a bunch of great coaches over my time. I've learned so much football from, guys like Rich Wright, Todd Sturdy at Northwest Missouri State, just very good friends of mine as well. Courtney Messingham, former coordinator at K-State. I mean, just some different people that have been huge in my growth as a football coach, going back all the way to, my high school days. My dad was a high school football coach, and talking to him, about the game and culture building and all those types of things. So just a huge list. I mean, I named 3 or 4 people. There's probably 20 that have been, great mentors to me over my time. Mike Woodley's another one. He was the head coach at Grandview College for a long time, and he was my coach when I played at St. Ambrose University. And I talked to him probably a good once a month and check in and, those type of things. So, yeah, it's definitely that camaraderie amongst coaches. It's a family. It's a brotherhood, and you can rely on those guys to pick you up when you need it and to help you along, obviously X's and O's as well.
And you talked about how these coaches are your family, but you also have a family of your own.
I do.
And I was wondering, how is it when they support you, and how does it affect your coaching?
Well, I mean, they're so supportive. I have 2 daughters, Jamie and Jill, that, don't miss games. If we're out of town, they're watching it on live stream. They don't miss it. They're probably 2 of the biggest fans. I got to tell them to calm down sometimes when the game's going on or afterwards or something like that. But they're so supportive. My wife, Erin, who works here at Angelo State as well. I'm very blessed, to have my family that support what I do, because it's long hours. It's different. They don't see me a whole lot in the fall, but at the end of the day, they're very supportive of what I do, and they're those 3 are my biggest fans. There's no doubt, and I'm theirs. So blessed on that, and but it extends all the way to my family. I have family back in Iowa, the cousins and people in Kansas City, and they don't miss games. I get nonstop texts and messages and stuff, and I love that.
And so also, we were talking about your family. You do things outside of football. This isn't all you do. And I was just hoping sometimes on the show, I want to get to know what the coaches do. What are some hobbies you may have?
Man, I love to play golf. I'm not very good at it, but I like to go out and play golf. my wife and daughters don't play, but they love to go drive in the cart and ride around and do that. So I play golf. I'll fish anytime I can. I don't do it as much as I used to do it. I used to go on a trip every year to Canada, go up fishing with my family and stuff. We haven't done it in a couple of years, but we'll start that up next summer again. But those are the main types of things. But then just spending time with them. I try to take advantage of my summers when I do have a little bit more free time to spend with the girls and spend with my wife, and we travel a lot. We do some different things to go see family in the summer, and that's what's special to us. Going to see the cousins and all that kind of stuff, and do some traveling. We don't take a lot of big vacations to go to fancy spots. We'd rather go back and see family and hang out with them. So that's a lot of the hobbies is spending time with them and doing things that we like. Coach Kilmer and I will go play some golf. Coach Atwell loves to play golf. We'll do that around here in the summer a little bit, but those are the main things.
And so you said you played at St. Ambrose. Is that where you met your wife?
It is. I met Erin. We both, our first year was 1990. I'm aging myself pretty good, but 1990 at St. Ambrose, I met her there, and started dating later our junior year, and we've been together ever since. So married 25 years, and 25 years this past summer, and 2 wonderful daughters, and it's been a great ride.
So what position did you play back?
I was a wide receiver many moons ago at St. Ambrose, and just loved my time there.
Yeah.
I really did. I just met so many great people and so many wonderful coaches, and we talked about that a little bit already. But it was an awesome spot, and obviously meeting Erin, my wife, there was something special too. But a long time ago.
And we talked about it when you were an athlete and you were playing college ball. You're not just an athlete; you also have to do your classes.
Yeah.
How hard can it be knowing you relate to your players and they got to balance that schoolwork and their athletic life? Could that be a struggle sometimes?
There's no doubt. And I'll be frank with you, I wasn't the greatest student right away when I first got to college. And it took a lot of, influences from other people, coaches that have helped me out along the way to make me understand that it's not just football and you gotta graduate. And that's something I'm very proud of here at Angelo State. And that's a carryover from, the staff before. We graduate our kids here. And that's something I learned when I got here. We graduate our kids here, and we have, since I've been here, with the exception of we're working on one still, but every kid that has come through and exhausted their eligibility in Angelo State, meaning they played all 4 their years of eligibility, or whatever, 2 years if they're a transfer, they've all graduated. There's one that's we're working on right now, but I'm proud of that. That's a great number, graduating your kids. I think when you play college sports, whether it's football, basketball, track, whatever it is, baseball, there's a lot of things that keep you on track to graduate. So, being a student athlete, you have to have great time management skills. You got to continue to develop at that. And if you don't do well in it, you're usually not a good football player too. So, having kids that exhaust their eligibility and play for Angelo State, these kids are graduating, and that's the most important thing that we can do for them.
And so all the other coaches here at Angelo State, they are going through the same thing you are. How often do you talk to the other coaches here at Angelo State? Maybe it's a different sport.
Yep.
Everything's different, but they still have some insights on things that could help you.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, you sit and talk about just unbelievable people out there that'll sit and help. Chuck Waddington, you look at KB, Kevin Brooks is just what he's done, obviously in baseball. I'd love to pick his brain every day. I mean, he's just he's a consistent winner. I mean, he just wins, and he recruits right and does different things there. Vinay, Coach Patel. I mean, I can go on and on, Divern and track. I mean, you take a look at all the sports, Alicia and what she's done in women's basketball since her arrival, all of them. It's just Travis Scott and Katie. I mean, you can just go on and on with everybody in different sports. And, we had a lot of success in the athletic department right now. And Coach Reed has kind of been the head of that, making great hires and maintaining coaches, keeping them here. That's huge to keep coaches in-house, and Angelo State has done that, and Coach Reed's been the leader of that. But, go talk to these coaches, man. I mean, we all have our own struggles we got to go through and those type of things, but, bouncing ideas off of them and getting a chance to talk to them is something special too.
And we call it the Ram Fam up here, and I mean, I feel it every day, but I notice that a lot of the coaches have their wives that they also work up here, or their husbands also work up here.
Yeah.
What does that mean that maybe your wife works up here too?
Well, I think it's it's something special from Angelo State's perspective. they recognize that keeping coaches is important, and those type of people coming in, why it's very qualified for a job, but understanding like, hey, let's help out the families here that are here and committed to Angelo State, and that's really good.
Yes, sir. And that was a great last question to end on, talking about the Ram fam. But we're going to go ahead and end the episode. Thanks for coming in, Coach Girsch. And thank you for watching this week's episode of RamZone. And next week, we'll be back with our next coach. And make sure to get out there and watch your Angelo State Rams and Ram Bells.